As he said, my name is Lisa Michalk, and I'm running for the 221st District Court. My experience is pretty much in criminal, although I've done some civil as well. Got my start, went to A&M up in College Station. After that, I went to Texas Tech Law School, and then I got out, worked for a civil firm for approximately almost about a year, and then I wanted to work as a prosecutor. I went to Beaumont, Texas, where I got my first prosecutor job, and I became a misdemeanor prosecutor. After that, my husband got a job transfer to this area in Montgomery County in 1995. I moved here. I have three boys. They're 16, 11, and 7. And I got involved in this whole process because I really feel compelled to get involved. I think that our country is in a bind right now, and I think we need more normal people that are conservative, that are willing to stand up and just take a stand. And that's the reason why I decided to run for judge. There are 3 goals that I will have as a judge: fairness, efficiency, and integrity. Those are the 3 things that I stand for. Fairness, in that I will be fair to both sides. That if you come before a court and I'm the judge, I will listen to both sides, I will look at the law, I will not be a judicial activist, I will take the time to really listen to the facts. The second one is efficiency. In March, before I made the final decision on whether or not to get involved in this process, I had the opportunity, in private practice now, to be court appointed on a case. I went into court that day, and I sat there and I waited for 3 hours for one reset. On the first setting, basically you don't have any facts, you haven't read the report, you can't do anything on the case. Well, I looked around. There were 20 attorneys sitting there. And out of those 20, I had 3 hours to decide which ones were court appointed and which ones were not. 17 out of the 20 were court appointed. Now you do the math, and I will too. At $90 an hour, you and I are all paying for people to sit there and do nothing. We're not allowed to leave. We're not allowed to take notes. We're not allowed to do anything else. We have to sit there for 3 hours waiting for one reset. And I thought to myself, I can do better than that. I know I can do better. And the other thing that really bothers me about the whole efficiency issue is judges that come out late. I mean, I know that's a very simple thing, but to me, it shows disrespect. If you expect the jurors to show up at 8 o'clock and you don't, that's disrespectful. If you have a docket at 9 o'clock and you stroll out at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, like we do here sometimes in this county, that is unacceptable. If I can drive an hour to Harris County and handle a case, drive an hour back, and get here before the judge is even taking the bench, we have a problem. And our infrastructure cannot handle what's happening here in Montgomery County with the number of cases being filed. The final one is my integrity. I take my personal integrity very, very seriously. I was raised by a dad who was born in the Depression. My mother and my father were born in East Texas. And the one thing that he told me my entire life is that if you lose your integrity, then you'll never get it back. So that's why I decided to get involved. I want normal people. I feel like my experience has led me to this point. I think that I'm ready and prepared to lead by example. And so on March 2nd, I would appreciate your vote, and I'm thankful for your consideration here. I really want to thank you for this opportunity to speak to you.
Okay, we can open it for questions. Anybody?
Okay.
Dale?
Okay. Question number 2, we're talking about a local program for identifying illegal aliens, and you said, I'm concerned about the fact that there are illegal aliens committing crimes in our community, and the rest of your answer seems to say that if they've committed a crime, they ought to be reported and dealt with accordingly. What if it's not something that comes before a criminal judge? What if it's like just a speeding ticket or something like that?
The only cases that I will be handling in this court are felonies. So that's the only thing that is in the 221st District Court. So I don't anticipate, I won't be sitting on any other benches. So I don't know how to say. All I can say is if it comes before me, then I think it needs to be reported. I think that people need to be here legally. I mean, there are steps to take. There are some plates down at INS. My big concern is that there are offenses that are automatic probation in our state. And that's my big concern, is that how can I as a judge order someone as their conditions of probation. One of them is that they remain within the state of Texas. One of them is that they work faithfully at suitable employment. Those two, I think that's horrible. They're putting me in a position of following federal law, and then here we have state law, and I think that they're at odds with one another. So I just decided the way I would handle it is I would say, if you're here illegally, you know, I may have to order you on probation to follow the law, but you're going to have to go report down to INS. And that's a condition I can add. And that's the only solution I can think of to handle that. Yes, ma'am.
And my question has to do with number 4, the reason of insanity plea. And I understand what you're saying about, you know, some people are truly just mentally, whether it's retarded or have emotional problems or whatever like that. But if they're repeatedly committing crimes and they cannot be changed, whether it's, and especially serious ones, I mean, there are child molesters who are.
Oh, I understand what you're saying, yes.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Can we really afford for our society to let that go, to kind of excuse that away because they supposedly can't tell right from wrong, and they end up back out on the street? I mean, that's a proven fact that they're some of the first ones that are let off early on parole to roam the streets. And, you know, that they're capable of murder. I mean, I know some of them is just simple stuff. There's a lot of them that it's not.
I really believe that that statute can be tweaked. But I truly believe that as a judge, I have to apply the facts to the law. And if we have a problem with the law, then we need to vote those people out and we need to put new legislators in. I think it's a very, very, and we always use this word, slippery slope, but it really is. If judges decide to take a personal agenda into that courtroom, then it can be bad. Now, when you talk about pedophiles, I do not believe that that is a mental condition that you're insane. The case that I cited was a gentleman, he was staying at this, he was very proud, he'd gotten a job at Kroger, bagging groceries, and he was targeted by this hot check people. I guess they target people that are mentally disabled. Right. And they had him go in and pass a check, and he felt that was his job, part of his job. And his IQ was very low, and he had a very nice, it was a very difficult situation.
That's different.
And, but it's very different. But I really have a problem with someone who comes in and commits a crime and all of a sudden says, oh, well, I really was crazy. You know, that's very different. But I